miserable. But the Iranians and a few other people that are very open-minded have said that probably didn't happen.
You wouldn't visit concentration camps?
If I was there, if I would ever go to the filthy continent that is Europe, which I have no ambition to do, everyone, especially my relatives, they're, all Italian, of course, they're like, oh, you gotta go to Italy. You gotta go to Italy. Why? Why do I want to go? I don't want to go to Europe. I would go to England.
You don't even want to go to Suffolk County.
It's too far.
Which, for the rest of America, is the county right next to
mine,
where Anthony lives.
I would
go to England. He doesn't want to cross the border into Suffolk County on Long Island.
I'd go to England. I would go to Ireland.
Yeah.
And as far as Europe is concerned,
why would you go to Ireland?
That's about it. I don't know. They seem like they have cool pubs. I'd want to go into a pub and have a Guinness, a real, Irish pub. And England seems pretty cool. Speak the language. That's another thing. I don't want to go to France and sit there and have to pull out a little book on, what do you, a medium rare. How do you say that?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Where's the craziest place you ever been?
Craziest place? I probably Tijuana.
Tijuana, Mexico?
Yeah. That is a whole nother.
Donkey show?
Filthier than any place. No, I was a little too young to see the donkey show, but I saw a lot of stuff just on the street. A lot of prostitution.
Right there in the open?
Poor little children. Yeah, little back alley action going on. I remember seeing a guy just full action, not like, little foreplay action, full action right next to a dumpster. And the girl was holding on to the dumpster with one hand and like turning around and watching the guy.
And how old were you?
Probably 12.
So what, Daddy took you to Tijuana, Mexico?
Yeah, and we were looking for some bar that he had maybe remembered going to at some point when he visited. And we were walking down some back little alleyway, and there was just, you heard the little, and I remember hearing the little dumpster wheel squeaking as it turned a little bit, because this Mexican was just, wow.
And I'm sure your dad, being a responsible father, covered your eyes and got you the hell out of there.
No,
right?
It was a big laugh, and hey, look at that. Hey, he's trying. And then I'm sure he made some kind of a Mexican racist joke. And
for the new listeners, I'm convinced Anthony had the greatest dad ever.
Oh, yeah.
Ever. He got him a girl at what age?
It was my 13th birthday.
13th birthday. I got a shiny 10-speed bike. Anthony got a whore.
I got, no, she was a 19-year-old friend of the family.
No, she was
friend of the family. No, we knew her for years. She was kind of loose, She was kind of loosey-goosey around the people that we frequented.
I was going to say, how do you think Dad knew that she was going to, give you a little action?
She was very popular around the stable, let's say, around the ranch.
Why? Was she funny?
Yeah. A load of laughs.
Is that why she was popular?
Without the laughs.
Was she good at Sudoku?
Yeah, really popular. She, one time she dragged me out of a restaurant out there in California because the original Mexican guy that she wanted to have sex with had passed out in his eggs. We were all having breakfast after a night of drinking. At 13.
And you were 13. Let's make sure.
And she was, rubbing this guy's leg and everything, and he had just fallen asleep in his eggs. And she kind of turned around and looked at me, and she goes, all right, I guess it's you. And just grabbed my arm and took me out of the place. And my father went, I'll see you tomorrow. And that was it. Back to the house.
Your dad was amazing.
For some action.
I wish I could have met him, man.
Oh, was he a rip.
What a trooper. You're just hanging out there drinking at 13 in a bar and then going home with one of the broads.
I get home from junior high. It was a short walk from Marco Forster Junior High. And I'd walk down to the stables where we kept our horses, and there would be my father and Uncle Chato, Tio Chato, our Mexican friend, just swilling these huge 40s of Bud, just drinking. And even at that age, I'm just like, why don't they work? You know, why? And they were always just complaining about unemployment running rampant. Oh, geez, it's so hard to. But it's like, and then he'd get like a job for a week.
I was gonna say, let's go look for jobs at the bar.
Look for jobs. No, always getting in fights. Like 13 years old, and we'd pull into this underground parking garage under a place called the Franciscan, which is a big tourist trap because it was San Juan Capistrano, so it was just full of tourists.
Right.
See the Swallows and the Mission, and we'd get out and they were constantly, like my father and all of his friends and everything, constantly just drunk and starting fights with the tourists because it's like a goddamn tourist, and constantly starting brawls. And I'd be like the little guy. So I'm the easiest target to go after for these tourists when the fight would break out. So, like, this big guys come running after me, and I'd have to, like, go bolting up these stairs. And then one time I turned around and kicked a guy, and he kind of fell down the stairs a little bit. And one thing I got to say, my father always did look after me during those altercations, because as the guy was trying to catch his balance on the stairs by grabbing the handrail, my father grabbed it by the hair and pulled him just off balance backwards, and then proceeded to smash his head on one of those parking blocks in the garage that stop your tire. And then all I know is, like, cops were everywhere throwing us all against the wall. And there I am, like, my hands against the wall, just a little guy getting frisked. took my little buck knife as my father was making faces at me next to me. It was just that.
What kind of faces?
Like sticking his tongue out and laughing. It was just it was a madhouse. It was a madhouse.
And I want to remind people, you were 13 years old.
13. He'd throw me the keys to the dune buggy.
Yeah.
Because, not a pot to whiz in or a window to throw it out of.
Right.
But we had to have, horses and dune buggies, although we moved every 6 months because, the landlord was banging on the door. So he'd toss me the keys to the dune buggy. And he'd been drinking, I'd been drinking. And just go, have some fun, Then I'd get all the girls from the stable, and they were like, 12, 13 years old, and they'd pile in, and I would just drive like 60 miles an hour down these riverbeds of Orange County. And plowing into bushes. I didn't know what I was doing. Could have killed like a whole carload of kids. We were constantly shooting guns. It was just the most dangerous situation for children to be placed in.
Hence,
ever.
The greatest dad of all time.
Yeah.
The greatest dad of all time.
It was an adventure. The biggest thing we did all year was our yearly trips out to the Mojave Desert, where we would just go out there and ride dune buggies and shoot big weaponry and shoot anything that moved. Until one thing that moved was, of course, I've told that story before, young Charlie Reyes.
Yeah, poor Charlie.
Charlie got shot on one of our outings by his father. His father was loading up a little pistol and shot him right in the shoulder. Looked like a heart shot. Just whole front of his shirt turned red. And, were we out in the middle of nowhere. Had to just load him in a pickup truck and drive him to...
And there was a waterfall of blood coming out, right?
Yeah, it looked like a water fountain. Never saw anyone get shot before or since. But I was looking right at him and heard the gun go off and was looking right at little Charlie. He was 9 at the time, by the way, 9. And when he got shot, he dropped his gun because everyone was armed. We were just armed to the hilt. He dropped his gun.
You guys were like a drunk militia.
Looked at his father and just went, oh, and fell to his knees, and it came squirting out in a perfect red tube. It looked like it was actually red blood in a tube. It was perfectly circular and in a perfect arc that just pumped out. So we were like, oh my God, Charlie's just shot right in the heart.
He's
That's
gonna
it.
Die any minute.
So all the drunk parents and everybody just grabbed like anything they could and packed it on the wound and ice, and then threw him in the back of a pickup truck and had to drive him to Arizona because we were closer to the Arizona border than any city in California. We were 50 miles in off of a highway So we were in the middle of the mountains. They were called the Old Woman Mountains. It was an abandoned silver and turquoise mine.
How cool is
And that's
that?
where we used to camp and, drink tequila, shoot guns, and drive dune buggies. And that was the last time we ever went out there. That was kind of ended the Mojave Desert trips. But Charlie made it. He was fine. Last I heard when I went out to California, when we went out, I visited Capistrano and asked about everybody, and he's fine. Richard's dead, but he's fine.
Well, yeah, your gay friend's dead. We'll get into that another day.
Poor Richard.
All right.
The boy that Anthony was seeing growing up.
He was not.
All right. Well, really fast before we take a break. Nick in New York. What's up, Nick?
Hey guys, sorry, not to distract from Anthony's childhood, but in my childhood was taken to Munich by my parents, and they made me tour around Stockholm, which is